Sometimes the biggest betrayal comes from the person you trust the most. And sometimes that person is waiting for you 8,000 miles away in a city that never sleeps. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story comes from one of you, a viewer who shared his experience that changed everything he thought he knew about love and trust. This is a long one, so grab your coffee and settle in. If you like stories like this, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love hearing from you all around the world. My name is David, and 3 years ago my world ended. Sarah, my girlfriend of 6 years, died in a car accident, just like that, gone. The woman I was going to marry, the woman I'd built my entire future around, wiped away in an instant by a drunk driver who walked away without a scratch. I was 38 years old and completely lost. I worked as a probation officer in Cleveland, Ohio. Every day I dealt with criminals, addicts, and people who'd hit rock bottom. I thought I understood pain. I thought I understood betrayal. I was wrong. For 2 years I barely left my house except for work. I gained weight. I stopped caring about everything. My friends tried to help, but grief is a lonely beast that devours you from the inside. Then one day, I woke up and realized I was living like a ghost. Sarah wouldn't have wanted this for me. She used to say, "David, life is meant to be lived, not endured." That's when I decided to do something completely insane. I was going to Thailand. I'd never been to Asia. Hell, I'd barely been outside Ohio. But I'd heard stories about Thailand, the food, the culture, the nightlife. Most importantly, it was as far from Cleveland as I could get. I landed in Bangkok on a Tuesday night in March. The humidity hit me like a wall, and the city noise was overwhelming. Tuk-tuks honking, street vendors shouting, neon lights flashing everywhere. It was sensory overload, and I loved it. I found a small hotel near Khao San Road and decided to explore. My first night I wandered into a bar called Lucky's. Nothing fancy, just a place where expats and locals mixed. The bartender, Tom, was a British guy who'd been in Bangkok for 10 years. "First time?" he asked, sliding me a beer. "That obvious?" "Mate, you look like a deer in headlights." "Don't worry, Bangkok will either make you or break you, sometimes both." I laughed. It was the first real laugh I'd had in years. The bar had this relaxed vibe. Local girls worked there, chatting with customers, nothing too crazy. I told myself I'd just drink beer and people watch. I wasn't ready for anything else. But then I saw her. Her name was Maya, and she was different from the other girls. She had this quiet confidence, like she knew secrets the rest of the world didn't. She was maybe 25, with long black hair and eyes that seemed to see right through you. She spoke perfect English, which surprised me. Most of the girls at Lucky's spoke broken English, mixed with Thai. But Maya was different. She told me she'd studied at university in Bangkok before life got complicated. "What brought you to Thailand?" she asked, sitting across from me. "Running away from ghosts," I said, surprising myself with the honesty. "Ah," she nodded like she understood. "Bangkok is full of people running from ghosts. The question is, are you running towards something or just running?" That hit me hard. I'd been running from Sarah's death for 2 years, but I'd never thought about what I was running toward. Maya and I talked until the bar closed. She told me about growing up in a small village in northern Thailand, about her dreams of becoming a teacher, about how life had taken her in different directions. I told her about Sarah, about my job, about feeling lost. "You know what I think?" she said as we walked outside. "I think you're not lost. I think you're just afraid to start over." She was right, and it scared me how easily she could read me. I extended my 2-week trip to a month, then 2 months. Then I quit my job and moved to Bangkok. Maya and I became inseparable. She showed me the real Bangkok, not the tourist traps, but the hidden temples, the street food vendors her family had been going to for generations, the markets where you could buy anything for the right price. She introduced me to her friends, and I became the token American in their group. They called me Dave American, and treated me like family. I was paying for a lot of dinners and drinks, but I didn't mind. For the first time since Sarah died, I felt alive. Maya quit her job at Lucky's B. I didn't ask her to, but she said she wanted to focus on us. I gave her money to help with her family back home. She had a younger brother in college and parents who were rice farmers. It seemed like the right thing to do. We moved in together in a small apartment in the Siloam district. I was living on my savings, but I'd saved well over the years. I figured I had enough to last a while, especially with the low cost of living in Bangkok. Maya was teaching me Thai, and I was picking it up quickly. She'd laugh when I mispronounced words, but she was patient. She said I had good ears for languages. "You're getting good at this," she'd say. "Soon you'll be more Thai than American." I was falling in love with her, with Bangkok, with this new life I'd stumbled into. For the first time in years, I was happy. About 6 months in, I started noticing things. Maya would get texts at weird hours and step outside to take calls. When I asked about it, she'd say it was family drama or friend problems. She always had an explanation. Her English was perfect, but sometimes she'd pretend not to understand things when it was convenient, like when bills came or when we talked about the future. She'd disappear for hours, saying she was visiting friends or running errands. But Bangkok is a city where you can track someone's movements pretty easily if you know where to look. I'd been a probation officer for 15 years. I knew how to investigate when something felt off. One day I followed her. She went to a high-end shopping mall in the Sukhumvit area. I watched from a distance as she met with a well-dressed Thai man. They sat in a cafe, and she handed him an envelope. He handed her something back, looked like money. My gut told me something was wrong, but my heart didn't want to believe it. I was in love, and love makes you stupid. When she came home, I asked her about it. "I had to meet someone about my brother's school fees," she said. "Just boring family stuff." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. By month 10, I knew I wanted to marry Maya. She was everything Sarah had been. Kind, funny, smart, but she was also adventurous in ways Sarah never was. She pushed me out of my comfort zone and made me feel young again. I bought a ring from a jewelry shop in Chinatown. Nothing too expensive, but beautiful. Traditional Thai design with a small diamond. I planned to propose on her birthday. She'd mentioned wanting to visit her family in the village where she grew up. I thought it would be perfect. Meet her parents, ask for their blessing, propose in front of the people who mattered to her. "You want to come to my village?" she asked when I suggested it. She seemed surprised, maybe even nervous. "Of course, I want to meet your family properly. I want them to know how serious I am about you." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Okay, but you have to understand, my family is very traditional. They might not know what to think of you at first. I can handle traditional parents." I laughed. "I'm 40 years old. I've dealt with worse." Looking back, I should have paid more attention to that nervousness in her voice. We took a bus north to a small village called Pak Chong. The ride was beautiful. Green mountains, rice fields, small temples dotting the landscape. Maya seemed quiet during the trip, but I figured she was just thinking about introducing me to her family. When we arrived, her parents' house was smaller than I expected. It was a traditional wooden structure on stilts, surrounded by fruit trees. Her mother, Siraporn, was a tiny woman with kind eyes. Her father, Somchai, was a farmer with weathered hands who spoke no English. They welcomed me warmly, but I could tell they were curious about this American who'd followed their daughter home. That first night, we sat on the front porch eating some tam and drinking beer. Maya translated conversations between her parents and me. They asked about my job, my family, my intentions with their daughter. "Tell them I love Maya very much," I said. "Tell them I want to marry her." Maya's mother clapped her hands together excitedly. Her father nodded approvingly. It seemed like everything was going perfectly. But then Maya's younger brother, Niran, came home from college. He spoke good English, and something in his expression changed when he saw me. "You're the American boyfriend," he said. It wasn't a question. "That's me," I replied. "Maya's told me so much about you. She's so proud of your studies." Niren glanced at Maya, then back at me. "Has she told you about her other boyfriend?" The words hit me like a physical blow. Maya's face went white. "Niren!" she snapped in Thai. They started arguing rapidly in a language I couldn't follow. "What other boyfriend?" I asked, my voice barely steady. Maya's mother and father looked confused. Niren looked angry. "The one in Bangkok who's been paying for my school," Niren said quietly. "The one she's been with for 2 years. That night Maya and I sat by the river behind her parents' house. She was crying, and I was trying to process what I'd learned. His name is Kritsada," she said. "He's a businessman in Bangkok. He's been taking care of me since before I met you." "Taking care of you how?" "He pays for my apartment. He gives me money for my family. He thinks we're going to get married." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "So what am I to you? Just some side entertainment?" "No," she said, grabbing my hand. "David, I love you. I really do. But Kritsada, he's been part of my life for so long. He's helped my family when we had nothing. My father's medical bills, my brother's school, my mother's medicine. I can't just walk away from that." "So, you've been playing both of us?" She was quiet for a long time. "In the beginning, yes. But then I fell in love with you. I didn't expect that to happen." "But you never stopped seeing him." "No," she whispered. "I couldn't. My family depends on his money." I stood up and walked to the water's edge. Everything I thought I knew about my life in Bangkok was a lie. The apartment, the money I gave her, the life we'd built together, it was all built on deception. "There's more," she said behind me. I turned around. "More?" "The calls, the meetings you asked about. Kritsada has been suspicious. He hired someone to follow me, to follow us. He knows about you." Now I was scared. "What does that mean?" "It means we're both in danger. Kritsada is not a good man, David. He's connected to people who don't ask questions when they solve problems." We left the village that night. Maya was terrified, and frankly, so was I. We took a bus back to Bangkok, but instead of going to our apartment, we went to a cheap hotel in a part of the city I'd never seen. "He'll be watching the apartment," Maya said. "He'll be waiting for us." For 3 days we hid. Maya made phone calls trying to figure out our options. I contacted a buddy of mine from my probation officer days who worked in international security. He told me what I already knew: get out of Thailand and get out fast. But I couldn't leave without trying to recover some of my money. I'd given Maya nearly $15,000 over the months we'd been together. Money I'd saved for years. Money that was supposed to last me until I figured out what to do with my life. "It's not about the money," I told her on our 3rd night in hiding. "It's about the principle. I can't let you and him just steal from me and walk away." "David, please," she begged, "just go home. Forget about the money. Forget about me. You'll be safe in America." But I couldn't do it. I'd spent my entire career dealing with criminals who thought they could take advantage of people. I wasn't going to become another victim. I went to the police, but they weren't much help. Relationship disputes between foreigners and locals weren't high on their priority list, especially when money was involved. So I did something stupid. I went to find Kritsada myself. Maya had told me where he worked, a construction company in the business district. I waited outside his office building until I saw him leaving. He was exactly what I expected: expensive suit, expensive watch, expensive car. I followed him to a restaurant where he was meeting with other businessmen. I waited until he was alone, then approached his table. "Kritsada?" I said in my best Thai. He looked up, and I could see the recognition in his eyes. "You're the American." "I am. We need to talk." He gestured to the chair across from him. "Sit." For the next hour, we had the strangest conversation of my life. He spoke good English, and he was surprisingly calm about the whole situation. "I've known about you for months," he said. "Maya is not very good at hiding things." "Then why didn't you do something about it?" He shrugged. "I was curious. I wanted to see how far she would take it, how much money she could get from you. That hit me hard." "So you knew she was scamming me?" "Scamming is a strong word. Maya's not a bad person. She's just practical. She saw an opportunity and took it." "What about the money? The money I gave her? What about it?" "You gave it freely. No one forced you." He was right, and I hated him for it. Kritsada made me a deal. He'd give me back half the money I'd given Maya if I left Thailand immediately and never contacted her again. "Why would you do that?" I asked. "Because I want her to understand that actions have consequences." She thought she could play both of us, but she was wrong. This is her lesson. I should have taken the deal, but I was angry, and I wanted to see Maya one more time. I wanted to understand why she'd done this to me. I went back to our hotel. Maya was packing her bags. "I'm going back to my village," she said without looking at me. "Kritsada called. He knows everything. He's giving me one chance to make this right." "What does that mean?" "It means I have to choose. Him or you. Security or love. And you're choosing him." She finally looked at me and I could see tears in her eyes. "I'm choosing my family, my brother's education, my parents' future. I'm choosing survival." "What about us? What about everything we had?" "We had a dream, David, but dreams don't pay bills. Dreams don't keep families fed." She handed me an envelope. "Kritsada wanted me to give you this. It's some of your money back." I opened it. There was about $3,000 inside. "That's it? That's all I get back?" "It's all I could convince him to give you. He said you should be grateful he's letting you leave Thailand in one piece." That night, Maya left while I was sleeping. I woke up to an empty hotel room and a note on the pillow. "I'm sorry. I did love you. Maybe in another life we could have made it work." I flew back to Cleveland 3 days later. The flight gave me 20 hours to think about what had happened, what I'd learned, and what I was going to do with my life. I'd gone to Thailand to run from grief, and I'd ended up learning about a different kind of betrayal. Sarah's death had been random, senseless, but honest. Maya's betrayal was calculated, planned, and it cut deeper because I'd chosen to trust her. But here's the thing. I didn't regret going to Thailand. I didn't regret falling in love with Maya. I regretted being naive, but I didn't regret taking the risk. For the first time in years, I'd felt alive. Yes, it had cost me money and nearly gotten me killed, but it had also reminded me that I was capable of love, capable of adventure, capable of starting over. 6 months later, I was back in Cleveland, working a new job with the county sheriff's office. I'd learned Thai, which made me valuable for cases involving Southeast Asian communities. I'd learned about international romance scams, which made me useful for fraud investigations. Most importantly, I'd learned that running from grief doesn't work. You have to face it, process it, and find a way to carry it with you while still living your life. I got a message from Maya about a year later. She was married to Kritsada and living in a big house in Bangkok. She said she was happy, but she also said she missed me. I never replied. Did I love her? Yes. Did she love me? I think so, in her own way. But love isn't always enough. Sometimes practical considerations win out. Sometimes survival trumps romance. I learned that cultural differences aren't just about language and food. They're about completely different ways of viewing relationships, family obligations, and what constitutes loyalty. Today, I'm 42 years old. I'm dating someone new, a teacher from Cleveland who knows my whole story and loves me anyway. We're taking it slow, but we're building something real. I still think about Thailand sometimes. I think about Maya, about the life we could have had if circumstances had been different, but I don't regret the experience. Here's what I learned. Trust is a gift you give to someone, but it has to be earned. Love is beautiful, but it can't exist without honesty. And sometimes the most important journey you take is the one that brings you back to yourself. I went to Thailand looking for an escape from grief, and I found something more valuable. I found out who I was when everything familiar was stripped away. I found out I was stronger than I thought, braver than I expected, and more resilient than I'd ever imagined. The money I lost? It was expensive education. The trust I lost? It taught me to be more careful with my heart. The love I lost? It reminded me that I was capable of feeling again. So there you have it, my story of love, betrayal, and finding myself on the other side of the world. It's not the ending I expected when I first stepped off that plane in Bangkok, but it's the ending I needed. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is the worst thing that can happen to you. You just have to survive long enough to see the difference. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more real-life adventures. Drop a comment and let me know, have you ever been scammed in love? Have you ever taken a risk that changed your life? I read every comment, and I love hearing your stories. Until next time, keep your hearts open but your eyes wide. The world is full of beautiful people and amazing experiences, but it's also full of people who will take advantage of your trust if you let them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.